For most of the last century, we learned what reality looked like from a few powerful media companies. It wasn't only TV. It was the newspapers that set the morning mood, the radio that carried emotion through the day, the glossy magazines that told us who we should want to be, and the Hollywood films that turned those ideals into culture. Even our school lessons followed the same rhythm. One story, one worldview, one version of truth, repeated so often it became invisible. We didn't just receive information, we breathed it in. The news told us what mattered. The announcer told us how to feel about it, and the ads told us what we needed to buy to stay normal. That was the first great social experiment, to see whether shared reality could be engineered by controlling what people saw, heard, and repeated. And for a long time, we accepted it. It was comforting to think we all saw the same thing. Uniformity felt like safety. Then the internet arrived and shattered the single story. Suddenly, anyone could speak, post, broadcast, and challenge the old narrative. At first, it felt like freedom, a rush of voices finally being heard. But the noise grew so loud that clarity became a rare luxury. Truth scattered into 1,000 mirrors, each reflecting a slightly different world. Now we live in an age where deepfakes can make almost anything appear real. A face, a voice, a memory, all can be manufactured in minutes. The illusion is perfect, but awareness doesn't depend on perfection. Information moves fast and changes constantly, while awareness remains still at the center of it all. Some get lost in the movement. Others are learning to see through it. If you're feeling this message so far, take a second to like, subscribe, or share it forward. That tiny act helps spread awareness itself, not as a trend, but as a quiet countercurrent to the noise. The new experiment isn't about who controls the message. It's about how we respond when control itself disappears. The same institutions that once ruled the signal now swim in the current they created. Politicians, billionaires, and corporations still try to steer attention, but even they can't hold it for long. Every system, no matter how vast, eventually dissolves into time. That's the law of continuation. Form is always temporary, but awareness never is. So, how are we adapting? Some of us are learning new kinds of discernment, reading energy instead of headlines, sensing coherence instead of chasing proof. We slow down, double-check, and feel what's real. Others still fall into outrage or fear, mistaking noise for meaning. Both responses are part of the same learning curve. Awareness finding its balance between chaos and clarity. And then there's the new generation, the first to grow up completely inside this flood of data. They don't expect truth to come neatly packaged anymore. They've developed what I call meta-discernment, the ability to cross-check, decode, and sense patterns almost instinctively. They might scroll fast, but they see deeply. They can recognize manipulation by tone, pacing, or energy long before they can explain why. They live in the storm, but aren't entirely swept by it. Their way isn't perfect, but it's promising. It shows that awareness is already evolving through them. The old world taught obedience. This one teaches perception. Control and chaos are just different teachers giving the same lesson. Notice what's real for you. There's no grand awakening coming for all people at once. What's really happening are small, steady awakenings scattered everywhere. A teacher who questions a headline. A student who spots a fake video before it spreads. A friend who chooses compassion instead of outrage. Each act of clarity adds light to the field, one quiet recognition at a time. Deepfakes can copy faces, voices, and memories, but they can't copy the awareness noticing them. That awareness isn't digital. It's not online or offline. It's the quiet field behind the eyes, the part of us that never scrolls, never uploads, never ages. The first experiment tried to shape belief. This new one reminds us that belief can't be owned. Everything built on control eventually falls apart, and what remains is the simple ability to see clearly, to recognize truth not as data, but as presence. That seeing, that awareness, carries peace through all the noise. First, the message told us what to think. Then the feed buried us in things to think about. Now the lesson is simpler. Don't surrender your sight. Awareness itself is real. And that realization is what Manifestools is built on. A reminder that technology, automation, and AI are not replacements for consciousness. They're reflections of it. The tools we build mirror the state of mind we're in when we build them. So the real work isn't teaching machines to be human. It's teaching humans to stay aware while they build machines. Manifestools is more than a system. It's a philosophy. It's the meeting point between awareness and architecture, where digital creation remembers its source, and where even in an algorithmic world, the quiet witness behind it all still remains awake. If this message resonated with you, like and subscribe. Not for the numbers, but as a signal of shared awareness. Because the more we remind each other to stay conscious in the middle of the noise, the more this next experiment, the one we're all part of, starts to make sense.